want to see happen. I want to see Congress. Um, Senator Chuck Schumer is the Senate Majority Leader. He can push the $50,000 bill regardless of what Biden thinks. You know.
Mhm.
So what I want to see him do, you the Senate Majority Leader, put the bill up for the vote. You know, see if you could get the Senate to pass it
Mhm.
and dare Biden veto it if you're really for it.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that Biden, from my understanding, and I don't agree with what he said about student loans at all. So don't get me wrong. Like I don't. I think personally he doesn't care about this topic that much. And we can talk a little bit more about why he probably doesn't. But from my understanding, uh, his whole point is that he can't do anything. He wants to send it to the Congress to be able to pass legislation for it because he thinks that um, uh, if the if he makes a decision, if he makes a decision, it will get overturned by the Supreme Court. And I'm not listen. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But my
Mhm.
point is that he thinks that he enacting executive power to change the action isn't the right way, and it could be overturned in the future and stuff. I don't agree with it, but I don't think he's against the $50,000. I don't think he'd veto that bill if it came to his table. It's kind of what I'm saying. Like if it came up to, I mean, maybe you talked about it earlier, but if it came to his table, I don't think he'd veto it. I just think that he doesn't personally want to be able to use the executive power for that.
Well, I know battle rap is a niche topic, so a lot of
Mhm.
people don't won't know what I'm talking about when I do this, but it's a battle rapper by the name of Easy the Block Captain, right?
Okay.
When these battle rappers have their special moves like wrestlers do. So when they get into the rhymes. So what Easy do when somebody says something that's not true in the previous battle, something, what he do, he scream out bullshit 3 times. So with buy-in and this and what you just said about him, the student loan, him not having the power, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Yeah, shout out to Easy the Black Captain. I didn't want people to think I had Tourette, so I had to explain that. And let me explain why. Number one, if he wanted to do it, he would do it and let the Supreme Court strike it down. That's number one.
Mhm.
Number
Mhm.
two, he's not stating he want Congress to pass $50,000. He's stating he want Congress to pass $10,000.
Mm.
So he definitely don't want the $50,000 passed because he's straight up saying $10,000.
Mhm.
Continuously what he's saying over and over again. Not one time did he ever say he's for forgiving $50,000 worth of student loan debt. Now, in the primaries, it went from Bernie had a plan, he was just going to forgive all of it. That was
That's
his
right.
plan that he proposed.
Mhm.
Warren had a plan to forgive student loan debt in primaries. I think for everybody that was making, was it under 150,000, I
I think
believe,
that was the number. Yeah, under 50,000.
something like that. And it was a variety of other plans. And of course, Biden's along with like I think Klobuchar was probably like the most conservative plans to be expected. So this is something that I think he doesn't care about. And you got to think of who we dealing with. We talking about we talking about credit card Joe. Who
Word.
don't know what that means. Oh, he's from the state of Delaware.
That's right.
That's represented.
That's
All
right.
these big car companies that donated to his campaign, those large
Mhm.
donors. He
Mhm.
was the person that was the architect and the stickler to making sure that you couldn't have student loan debt with bankruptcy. You
That's
couldn't
right.
add that
That's
on.
right.
That was Joe Biden.
That's right.
So if he
And he's
put
never
that
apologized
in,
for that, has he? I don't think he's ever apologized for that either.
no, I mean he doesn't. He just apologized for the crime bill, kind of.
Yep.
Even
Yep.
during this presidential run, after he won the nomination, we won the Breakfast Club, he's still trying to defend it.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't like Biden at all, but it is what it is. We're in the situation where if the Democrats do pass it, I don't see him vetoing it. I don't think he
Mhm.
will. because like especially if it get through the Senate and the House. The problem is he has some people in the Senate that he could call on if he really don't want it that will vote against it, like Coons, like Chris Coons. I'm not calling somebody a coon. For those of you who don't know,
Connecticut Senator Chris Coons.
it's a senator named Chris Coons
Yeah.
from the state of Delaware.
No, I'm sorry, not Connecticut. Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Delaware. That's buy-in boy right there. So if Biden
Chris
passed,
Cinema.
say, Senator Coons, come here, vote against this. So that's where that's where the conflict at. Because some of the stuff I don't think he cares about, like the means testing. At the end of the day, I really don't think he cares. He just wants a deal done when it comes to the COVID relief bill. I don't think he really cares about that. I don't really think he cares about the minimum wage all that much.
No, not even at all. Yeah.
I think if it passes, he's like, okay. If it don't, like whatever. But I know he is getting pressure for some big business interests with the minimum wage. There's certain stuff that I think he cares about. I know during the campaign he said he wanted a public option, but in reality he doesn't want a public option.
No, he absolutely does not want a public option. That's not even like in his mind at all during this first period. So
right. So you just gotta, and it's too bad because my problem with it is this. I don't know when our next opportunity for this is going to come along. This is why it was such a mistake for us to nominate Biden as the nominee. I know that spilled milk. It is what it is now, but here's the problem: there is no guarantee. And if you go throughout history, and just if you look at how many state legislators the Republicans control, with redistricting alone and gerrymandering, how they're going to redistrict and redraw the lines. Republicans, if they get the same amount of votes they received in 2020 in these House races, they win the House.
Yep.
They don't even have to really pick up any seats just because of the way they go and gerrymander these districts.
Yep.
So if you are betting person, not guaranteed, of course, but also during the first midterm election, usually the party in power loses Congress. Historically, that happened with Reagan, happened with Clinton. It happened.
Didn't happen with Bush, but that's because of 9/11.
Not the first term because of 9/11.
Yeah.
But it did happen.
Yeah, wiped out. Yeah.
Yep. It did happen his second term though.
Yep.
In the midterm election. Happened with Obama. It happened with Trump. So historically, that's what usually happens. So I say that to say this: the Democrats, by the end of 2022, might not be controlling the House of Representatives.
Yep.
They might be able to gain a seat or two in the Senate, maybe, depending on what turnout look like. Also, you got to think Republicans are going to make it harder, are trying to make it harder to vote too in a lot of these states. So a lot of these opportunities, who knows when they come again.
Why do you like? I have my reasons as to why Biden is so opposed to helping people take care of. Well, my opinion is that he's from a generation where he doesn't care because it costs $10 to go to college. Back when he was able to go to college and go to law school, he didn't care like that. He's from his perspective of things. It's like so gone from the way people are living right now, and he's been in Washington for nearly 50 years now himself. So he's been in the Senate 50 years, which is like a whole unique cluster of people. Like those people that live in there in the Senate for as long as he has, especially, like they're not regular people. They're just a completely like different mindset. And so he's not able to. He's not had anybody in his family that's had to go do college and have troubles paying for it and stuff. He's probably not associating people like that often to understand the struggles that people are going through. The one thing that's like really unique about like a Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or some of these others is that like at least especially like in the case of Bernie Sanders, like he was a loser like in his 20s and 30s. Like after college, like he kind of was in the wilderness and he found like politics as the way to kind of like really kind of touch on what he felt internally with his life and all that stuff and what he wanted to do, and that kind of helped him find himself. But he had to struggle for a very, very long time. And what I've noticed is that with the Senate especially, a lot of members of the Senate don't come from backgrounds of struggle. They come from or hardships. They come from backgrounds of like relative stability, affluence, and even wealth. And when they enter the Senate, especially like that's all they know. So it's hard for them to really relate to that. So somebody like Biden, he went to school in the 60s when it was like $10 and to go to college because tuition for colleges was largely subsidized by the states, especially state schools. He went to Syracuse, granted, but state schools subsidized like college for a lot of our country's history. And then when Reagan came into power, obviously that flipped everything around, and it's decreased state subsidizing the college, and colleges have had to figure out other ways to capture tuition, and that's through raising tuition rates. And then also, if you've noticed, like, I don't know if your school, but my school, like, they're expanding all the damn time. I went to the University of Maryland, and the campus I went to was already expanding when I was there many, many years ago, and it's grown even more exponentially now, even like the last like 5 or 6 years or 10 years. And so you have that as well, where schools are investing in their infrastructure and building new buildings and doing all this stuff, and the way they pay for that is through fundraising, but also through raising tuition. And and it's hard for somebody that of Biden's age and stature and coming from the Senate for the last 50 years and living where he's lived, and also like you said before, he's very beholden to the financial industry because Delaware is a state that's uniquely like is uniquely like a financial haven where a lot of people establish LLCs because of they have low and no state taxes, and
Yeah.
so he doesn't understand these problems. He's never really come. He talks about, oh, when I was 6 years old, it was tough and all that stuff, but I'm not that. I'm a lot younger than Biden. I can barely remember being 6 years old. So I'm wondering how much he actually has a memory of all of like how it was when he was younger and all that stuff. So
Well, and not only that, he's been a member of the Senate since he's been 29. He got elected at 29.
right.
So he's been good for a while.
hmm
Compared to Senate terms, he wasn't rich
hmm
compared to like some of the other people in the Senate, but he's been well to do for a while now. That's number one.
Yep.
Number two, like you said, I think he graduated from law school in what the early to mid 70s.
Early 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah, early late 60s probably. I think. Yeah.
yeah, probably because if he was 29, because he went to the Senate. What year was it?
He went to the
70?
Senate in the same that Nixon got elected. So I think 68 was when he was elected into the Senate, I believe.
Nah. He didn't go to the Senate 68.
73. So 73 is in the Senate. My apologies.
Uh, yeah, I know.
Nixon's second term is when he was in the Senate.
Okay, I thought it was a little bit later than that, but you could be right. But the point is that whenever he graduated from college, the student loan debt crisis wasn't like now.
hmm
That's number one. So he personally didn't have to deal with that.
hmm
The student loan debt crisis didn't really start exploding until the 90s.
Exactly. That's right.
So you gave some of the reasons why already. So I won't rehash that, but he didn't have to deal with it. He have certain financial interests. It was his bill where you couldn't put student loan debt in bankruptcy. And it's funny because he never dealt with the reasons why student loans debt crisis happened in the first place. I'm sure he supported raising Pell Grants every now and then, but that's like a drop in the bucket to what
hmm
the problems was. Real problem is what you stated. That's why the cost of schools been going up.
Mm-hmm.
and up and up, and not to mention some of these for-profit colleges that started to kick off as well.
Yep.
That was really targeting people and scamming people. They had they charged a crazy amount for tuition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure y'all remember. Hey, y'all help me out. What was that? What was that college commercial with Little Romeo? Was it IDC? I forgot the initial IDC. Remember that? It'd be like IDC in college. College. I might be getting the initials wrong. I just remember that commercial. I remember Everest commercials that used to come on during those ratchet talk shows all the time.
Daytime
Uh,
TV. ICDC College. That's what it was called.
okay, you looked it up. There we
Yeah,
go.
look it up. ICDC College.
Yeah. I'm so IDC. Was it again?
ICDC. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so ICDC. Yeah, that trash. But like, those for-profit colleges
Mm-hmm.
really kicked off was taking advantage of people. That's another reason that it exploded. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to address some of the misconceptions some people have with student loan debt forgiveness. I didn't hear a number of flawed arguments against it. And if you have a disagreement with policy, that's okay. Just come with real facts and
Mm-hmm.
a real reason. But some of the faulty reasons they saying that it would overwhelmingly help rich white people, and that's just not true. I mean, it's just not true. Will will some white people be helped by it? Yes. But it will have a greater impact on black people that went to college. Now,
Word.
I know there's a tremendous amount of black people that haven't been to college, but for black graduates, we ended up with more student loan debt than our white counterparts on average. And you can go on Department of Education and see this. On average, black graduates have $25,000 more debt. Graduated with $25,000 more debt than our white counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's on top of us didn't get discriminating on in the workplace and all that. Also, yes, if you graduate from college, especially undergrad, you can end up in the working class or mid to lower middle class. And the mid to lower middle class, that's where you get hit hardest with taxes as well.
Yep.
So it's not like a lot of people that's graduating from college are just balling out of control. No. And even if you get in a six-figure job, to get these six-figure jobs, especially if you don't have money, um, it's normal to have $300,000 worth of student loan debt and getting graduate degrees. That's normal. And we're not even asking for him to give private loans. People not even asking for it. It's just for
Yep.
federal loans.
Yep.
So people that have those type of loans usually have private loans mixed in with the federal loans, so they will still have to pay that off. So it's not like
Mm-hmm.
we're getting a complete pass, but it will help the economy overall.
Oh my
It
God.
means stimulus.
Can you imagine somebody that's paying like 300 some odd dollars a month on student loans having that money in their pocket and are able to like, save up for a house now or live somewhere where they feel the most comfortable, even like to live in an apartment or um, you know, purchase like a car that's right for them or something like just little things like that. These are or just like buy good food. You know what I mean? Just
Right,
stuff like that.
right.
Get health insurance if their job isn't providing it. These are things that are ways that a person that isn't paying $300 or $400 a month in student loans are able to now do things and live a better life.